Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Falak Khan, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such corporate stalwart on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Anil Pande. Hello, welcome, Mr. Pande. We are glad to have you here today with us on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thanks, Falak. Good to be here. Thank you.
So let me give you a quick brief about Mr. Anil Pande. He has over 3.5 decades of comprehensive experience in the telecommunications and smart infrastructure domains. His global perspective and innovative approach are evident not only in his entire career path, but also in his recent endeavor as founder of Golf Bean, a unique app connecting golfers and creating golf communities globally. As the Vice Chair of Smart Cities at FTTH Council Asia Pacific, he is actively contributing to the development of fiber infrastructure design for future applications in smart cities, IoT, and 5G. His commitment to advancing the industry is reflected in his active involvement in industry councils and boards, including past roles as a board director and vice president of FTTH Council APAC. As the current Chief Executive Officer of Ductrove Innovations, he has not only demonstrated his executive prowess, but has also exhibited a remarkable entrepreneurial spirit, co-founding Consilnet Inc, a pioneering internet startup based out of San Jose. So, Mr. Pande, could you provide us with an overview of your professional journey and the key milestones that have shaped your career in the telecommunications and smart infrastructure industries?
Thanks, Falak. I think I was trying to figure out if all that was talked about me to so embarrassing and inspiring. Anyway, yes. So I basically like to look at myself as somebody who's come from a fiber optic cable background. So a large amount of my time, initial days of my life after engineering and MBA, etc., was spent with Siemens in the telecommunication cable business. So I was responsible to set up a factory to manufacture telecom cables, initially copper cables in the earlier days, and then fiber optic cables. And so I got this opportunity with Siemens to travel around the world, looking at multiple plants of Siemens across the world and how the technologies were changing from copper cables to fiber optic cables. So I was, in a way, initiated into the telecom business with fiber optic cables just as it was happening in India for sure, and gave me a big exposure in the in the telecom or the fiber optic field. Soon after I finished my tenure or stint with Siemens of about 10 years, I actually, and that's the time when internet was happening big time. I got sucked into the entrepreneurial bug, and I started this company with two co-founders in the US called Consilnet, which was essentially to bring internet into homes, initially through DSL and through Wi-Fi. So Consilnet was credited to have done the first hotel in the world on Wi-Fi in Singapore, and we ran many hotels in the world giving the Wi-Fi solutions. And it was not just a Wi-Fi solution, but it was also interfacing, authentication, security, all kinds of things. So I typically was very lucky to have been brought up or grown up in my technical fields in the internet space. So that's where I am, telecommunication and internet space, and all my endeavors after that have been in that area.
That's really very interesting, and I'm sure a wonderful journey so far. So, we want to know, like, what are some values and principles that have been decisive in your professional success?
Okay, so once again, I think I'll have to draw examples from my career, what I've been through, and how that's helped me in furthering my career and things that I did in my professional life. So I was lucky. So after having done the Consilnet and the initial Siemens bit, I worked for another 10 years or 10 to 11 years with a global major, the largest company in the world, manufacturing fiber optic cable ducts. So these are ducts in which fiber optic cables are placed through air-blown technology, and with them, so that's again connected to the fiber space and the internet space. So I got a chance of setting up and expanding businesses in many countries of the world. So I actually launched the business in Africa. We acquired a company in South Africa to go deep into the African countries. I initiated business in Middle East, in Saudi Arabia. We set up a factory in Oman. I started business in China, Southeast Asia, New Zealand, Australia, and of course India. So I actually managed to expand, and this was the first time it was happening in this part of the world that I was looking after, which was all of east of Europe, all the way down to the Pacific Rim countries. So to gallop and to expand. So what I realized while doing all this massive growth and in multiple countries, and for the first time, it was being done in all these countries. So what I realized is the way to success is essentially, and obviously I was lucky because this was the first time it was happening, so it wasn't a copycat product, is innovation. So whatever you want to do, if you're innovating and not trying to just better something that somebody has done, if you are totally looking at it from a new perspective, successes come very easily. And big differentiator. And technology, I found, was a big differentiator. Luckily, I was in the technology space, but even if it is not technology all the time, you probably don't have products that you invent every other day. But even if it is innovation in whatever you do, the way you do your documentation, the way you do your logistics, the way you communicate with your customers, the way you give importance to customers, look at it from the customer perspective. Any kind of innovation is very important if you want to grow and succeed. Otherwise, you just become another follower, and then you don't go very far. Maybe I can quote one of the examples that, not from the telecom space in particular, but, from something that all of us are familiar with. So I like to talk about IKEA as an example. Now, IKEA as a company has been around in the world for a long time, and they are spread and they're expanding all over the world. And anybody or everybody in their life, sometime or the other, has had experienced IKEA. Interestingly, there is no competitor to IKEA in the world. There's nobody who set up another IKEA to do what they do. Why not? I mean, it's so simple and logical, but they've done, so there are furniture companies of different sizes and shapes and designs and Italian background or whatever, and you can go to some shop to buy beds, some shop to buy tables. But here is an IKEA who's sort of made it like a mission to do what you want to do, and not go and buy a bed which they have lying in that shop. Here you can make your own furniture, and it's so successful, and that's pure innovation. They just try to give you what you want and not what they have. So that I think is the kind of intent that I've had in my life, in anything that I do, which probably has helped me in being wherever I am today.
Yes, and that's really very great, I must say. So, considering your wealth of experience, what advice would you give to aspiring leaders who aim to make a significant impact in the corporate world?
Yeah, so I think, just like I said, innovate. But I think the other important thing apart from innovation is to look at a holistic approach. As in, don't look at a product and just make a product and try and cut down prices and say that, okay, here I've cut down prices and I should get market share. And so that doesn't take you too far. That might help you in meeting your monthly or a quarterly goal. But then after that, what? So you should try to look at, business from a very study carefully, understand and go deep into your business. Oh, okay. So I'm reminded of a small example again. Let me take this chance of talking about it. So here was a company, and this is a real case history of a company in the US which was selling milkshakes, and they wanted to expand. Everybody wants to grow and expand, so they hired a consultant, and they said, okay, tell us, what do we do? Should we sort of make our milkshake more chocolatey or more crispy, or reduce the prices? Should we put more milk? So people studied and came out with a lot of solutions. Yes, probably you should have more skimmed milk, or more froth or whatever, and they did all of that and nothing happened. They didn't grow sales at all, which is when somebody else came and sat down and did a detailed study. And this is how you should look at businesses. You have to really go into detail. So they sat there and watched the crowd, watched the behavior of how things are happening. And what they found, that 50% or majority of the sales happened at between 7 and 8 in the morning. And what they found is that, and they studied it carefully, they found that everybody who came at between 7 and 8, so they had 3 sizes of milkshake that they offered, and most of the sales was of the large size, 7 to 8, and most of the time they found that these people would pick up the milkshake and go into the car and move. Nobody would be sitting there or ordering a sandwich or a candy or anything else, and they would just pick up the milkshake, pick up the large size between 7 and 8, sit in the car and go away. So then they went into details and they realized that these people are actually driving to work, and it take about half an hour, 1 hour to drive to work. So they pick up the bigger one. And so that's the major crowd. So then they realized that, okay, they need something to keep themselves busy in the car while they're driving. They don't want to get bored. It's monotonous, and they cannot be eating a sandwich while driving a car. So they pick up a milkshake. So then they got those milkshakes, made them thicker, make the straw thinner, so that they take more time to consume that milkshake, because they need so much time, the milkshake, to last till they reach the office, and they saw the sales going up. They also realized that the second most time when the people came and bought milkshakes was between 3 and 5 or 3 and 4, and they realized that these are the people who are going back home and the homes are close by, and they bought the smaller ones, so they made those thinner, so they did that kind of research and increase sales. So what I think about any business that you want to do is you shouldn't just try and be a tweaker and try to think that something big will happen. You should really go into a lot of it holistically and try and make a change. If you have time, there's another example that I can think of is Intel. So Intel at some stage in life was struggling, and they were not increasing sales. So as you know, Intel was the inventor of chips, and they were sitting high up there, and big market share, big companies, which is when they couldn't figure out what is it that they need to do. So you might not know, because this was many years ago, and when Intel was kind of new. So then they broke the mold and shocked the world, and they came out with a chip. At that time, it was called Celeron. And Celeron was a very low-end, very initial stage, small work kind of a chip, which was half the cost and very small, did small amount of work. And they suddenly found that there is a huge market that opened up. The small people started using chips, and that market was never there. And they opened up a new market because they tried to go in on the other end of the market. So if you look at a business from a holistic perspective, a lot of things happen. You have more touch points with your customers, and you can then increase your business.
Yes, that's definitely there. Like a lot of research and everything is involved. Wow. So when we talk about ESG and corporate governance, we want to know how and when did you develop an interest in ESG and corporate governance?
So ESG is, the sooner people realize that. So what I feel really, ESG is, if you look at ESG, your business from an ESG perspective, your business will grow whatever. You don't have to look at your business from, the product and go deep into it and increase the business. Look at ESG. Look at how the people, the environment, the society is affected by your business. And if you can fulfill that, your business will grow, irrespective. So if I'm creating a product which is creating a nuisance or noise or pollution or dirt and if I create something else compared to a competitor, I'll keep selling a lot more because so there's a long-term benefit if I do ESG. The other thing about fiber, the field that I come from, fiber optic cable. So fiber optic cable is very sustainable. It is made from silica, from sand, not copper, which is mined and costs a lot of money and once you throw it, it's wasted. Difficult to, it's recyclable, but difficult to recycle. You need to have furnaces, chimneys, fire. Wireless has got radio, so there are some effects that happen of cellular, but fiber is very, very sustainable, absolutely environment friendly. So that's the background I come from, and I realized that if you take care of the environment in your product, and of course your society gets taken care of, governance is, if you're doing good governance, everything is so which is when I realized that look, ESG is the way to drive business. And as we know, the E in ESG is environment, right? So if you are worried about the environment, so what do? You take care of the energy inputs into your product. You take care of the waste that it discharges and the resources it needs. And the moment you've taken care of the energy consumptions and the discharge that you're doing, carbon emissions, etc., that means your product is becoming more cost effective. So having taken care of these inputs, you are actually helping yourself. Social criteria, like I said, so if you're creating a product which is not affecting the society adversely, your product will start selling more. Governance, it is so simple. If you're following rules and traditions, you don't have to be worried about uncertainties in life. So ESG, if you just take care of ESG, your business grows automatically. So there are some 4 or 5 impacts of ESG. If I was to not go into too much of detail, because ESG is a topic you can talk about a lot. But if you've taken care of ESG, your automatically your top line grows, your cost comes down, your regulatory interventions and disturbances from the government and all that stops, your productivity goes up, and obviously your asset utilization, etc., goes up. So it's a long topic, but yes, the be all and end all is that if you've taken care of ESG, you help yourself.
Yes, that's definitely there. So our next question is also on the similar lines, like as an ESG and corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
So, I don't think I'm a ESG expert per se, but what I do understand, I believe in is that, like I said, that I would look at, if I was to help somebody in ESG, I would actually look at how do we increase your business by looking at ESG. So if you follow the ESG route to improve your business and your costs and your efficiencies, that's the thing I would do with anybody. How is it that we can look at your product, your systems, your processes, your working conditions from an ESG perspective, and automatically finances come?
That's there. So when we talk about technology, as someone working closely with technology, what are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with changes in technology? And what changes do you expect to see with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, and Web 3.0?
Yeah, obviously we've seen this generation or the generation current and the last generation. Our generation has seen more technological changes than anybody else in any generation, the history of the world. So we came from, not you, but we came from a generation where there were no mobiles, and you had only landlines, and from suddenly you move from there to mobiles, and now whatever new is coming, wearables or whatever. So we've seen from fax machines, etc., which have now disappeared. The CDs, etc., came and they went away. So there's a lot of technology which is changing very rapidly. But I think the one that stays in our mind, at least in my mind, over all these years, is something that's happening now. So the most disruptive thing that's happening in the world in many generations is this AI piece. this AI, artificial intelligence, is really a very big thing. It's changing everything. And if I may, I don't know if I'm answering the question directly, but I'll talk about the IoT impact in a while. But the AI is something that has to be understood very, very quickly. And the faster the leaders understand this AI piece, there's a lot of mystic, a lot of fear. And I think it's more fear about AI. Everybody's talking about job loss, and what is this AI doing, and fake news and all kinds of things. But I think, the faster we as leaders realize that, look, this AI has happened. No, you cannot wish it away. How is it that you can use AI and change yourself? So a few changes, which dramatic changes, which leaders have to do. One, of course, is that leaders have to understand and reorient themselves to think AI. And one change that might happen. So in the past, you could have CEOs or leaders of companies who are marketing background or finance background. But I think going forward, everybody will probably be more technical, because you have to have AI understanding, thorough understanding of AI to be leading companies now. Whether you're an engineer or a technical or a marketing person or a finance person, you have to equip yourself with AI. You have to know, how does this AI piece affect and work in every aspect of your company, whether it's finance or logistics or supply chain or manufacturing or whatever, because your competitor is doing it anyway. So you have to be looking at, so this is the AI way in which you have to run companies. So that's one thing that's happening. The second thing is, AI is bringing in a lot of emotional changes in the workplace. One, of course, is my job's going, and how do I handle it? And so you have to train your people. And if they're not trained very quickly to work, to also adapt AI, and to not get emotional about job loss situations, but to retrain themselves to accept AI, that's big job of the leaders to keep the company and the people together. The the other thing that this AI piece, people have to realize is that, your supply chain, in everything that's happening in the company, leaders have to see how they can sit down. And AI is creating a lot of emotional contentment in people, and you have to very quickly, carefully manage it, because it'll create it'll create people leaving, and depressions and all that in your company, and not good atmosphere. So you have to make sure that you explain to people, don't get scared of AI, learn it, get on top of it. And I think the important thing is that leaders have to understand that, look, AI is not some small thing about throwing in software to replace a person and becoming more profitable. No, if you just think that, look, let me use AI and sack 100 people and become good, no, that what will happen tomorrow? So you actually now you have an additional resource. And I strongly believe that, look, you got a new technological resource of AI. You have your manpower. See how you can use AI and your existing resource and do something better and bigger. Like when computers came in, and people thought people would lose jobs. No, so people are there, use computers, do something, create something bigger, which is what our leaders need to do today. And AI cannot take over, definitely, because AI doesn't have creative thinking, cannot imagine, doesn't do ethical decisions. So people are needed anyway. So you have to teach people to use AI and create something bigger.
Yes, that's definitely there. And we just hope that technology grows in for better. And obviously people use it for better, not taking disadvantage of it. Because AI is also a lot of scams and all also happening because of that.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So as you know, we are building a community of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about this initiative taken about by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hemal Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
No, I think great initiative. Yes. I guess in the team's, Zishan's and other colleagues' vision, it's a great thought. And I'm sure in their vision, they would have thought about some ways of scaling it up to sort of really, really increase it, enhance it, make it more pollinated, so people can really, come to know about people who are not so much all the time, or who have a limited field. So yeah, through this medium, sure, if the sort of field can enhance and more people come to know about more such people who are trying to create some differences, it's wonderful.
Thank you for these really very kind words, I must say. So it was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders and help them grow in their careers as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Anil Pande. We wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. So thank you so much once again for being with us today on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thanks, Falak. Thanks, my pleasure. It was very nice talking to you.
Same here.
Thank you.